Food. Since the dawn of time, it's been necessary for human survival. But in Minecraft survival, it hasn't actually always been that way. Once upon a time, you didn't need to eat to survive. Until one day. Picture this. It's 2011 and you're Mojang. You are about to add one of the craziest new features that will forever change Minecraft survival. Hello ladies and gents. I hope you're having a wonderful day and a happy holidays. Today, we need to talk about food in Minecraft and how it kind of sucks. Before we get to my dislikes on the food system and the suggestions I have to change it though, we first have to understand how the food system works. Originally added in beta 1.8 on September 2011. Originally, this feature was meant kind of with discontent by the community since players didn't like the idea of being forced to eat food. While food was in the game before beta 1.8, it would directly refill your health instead of your hunger bar because hunger didn't exist yet. So if you were good enough at the game to never get hit and knew how to spam arrows, you never had to eat. The whole hunger bar was added in to balance sprinting. Moving to today though, you might think you know how the hunger system works. You get hungry, when you get hungry you eat, and when you eat you get less hungry.
Good guess, but actually no.
There's actually way more to the hunger system. Food levels, food exhaustion levels, saturation, food tick timer, hunger effect, saturation effect, which is different from saturation. Okay, pause. It sounds complicated, but trust me, it's not that bad. When you break it down, it's pretty simple. First off, food exhaustion. Food exhaustion boils down to certain actions like attacking, jumping, sprinting, healing, which increase your exhaustion level. Exhaustion levels affect how rapidly your saturation decreases. Okay, what is saturation though? Saturation acts as the initial buffer before your hunger gets used up. Saturation is a hidden feature, which is literally just as important, if not more important than the hunger bar itself. The only way in vanilla to know its level is to see your hunger bar start to shake, which means you are at a saturation of 0. Finally, to refill your saturation and your food, you can eat food, which give you a separate value for hunger and for saturation. For example, bread gives you 5 hunger and 6 saturation. A whole cake gives 14 hunger and only 2.8 saturation. Golden carrots give 6 hunger and 14.4 saturation. And therein lies our problem. My first issue is with the saturation system. So saturation in of itself isn't bad. The only thing I don't understand about it is why it's hidden from the players. If there were no YouTube or wiki or mods, realistically, could you figure it out? Sure, I'm sure a couple geniuses could figure it out, but for normal people like you and me, we would be completely unaware of the system. I'm fortunate enough to be on Java Edition where I can install mods to view my saturation level, but a ton of other players on what's Pocket Edition called nowadays, mobile, on Minecraft Mobile, Minecraft Bedrock, any version other than Java Edition probably has to pay like, I don't know, an exorbitant fee of 200 mine coins just to view their saturation level, which is just, I don't understand just why. Okay, my second reason is redundancy.
I know how to cook one meal, a steak. Now, I would say that steak is the most important meal of the day. Usually whenever I get up around 2 to 3 p.m., I start the day off, I eat 1 to 4 cookies, maybe some gummy lifesavers, maybe go down to, I don't know, McDonald's to get some food, and then towards the end of the night, and this is about where we're at now, it's about, looks like a little past 1 a.m. And so this is prime steak time.
I think that the food system is okay, but there are a lot of problems, one of which is redundancy. Be honest with me, when was the last time you made a rabbit stew in survival with the intention of eating it? Probably a while ago. Why am I picking on this random food though? Because it's the worst food in the game, embodying literally every sin about food, and no one seems to know that. So let me explain. Reason number 1 is it's difficult to get. The only ways to get rabbit stew are by buying it off a butcher, which costs a lot of emeralds, or by crafting it with a crap load of other food items. But let's say you went through all the effort to get it. You'll quickly find out reason number 2 why it's bad. It's unstackable. The unstackability of food is a feature from Alpha Minecraft that every food except for foods involving bowls and cakes have abandoned. See, in Minecraft you have a very limited inventory, with spots being competitive. So why Why would you take up an entire slot with a single rabbit stew where you could take it up with an entire stack of steak, which lasts you much longer? Okay, fine. Let's say you went through the effort of crafting it, and now you have a rabbit stew. You're gonna eat it, right? You'll quickly find out that it's completely obsolete. The most heinous and disgusting reason why this food sucks is because if you ate the materials needed to make it separately, then you would get more hunger and saturation than you would if you crafted them all together. Why would you ever eat it then? It's completely baffling and a waste of time. And before you get mad at me in the comments and say I hate Minecraft, let me clarify. I don't hate rabbit stew. I hate that it's bad. I'm not complaining because I don't like it. I'm complaining so hopefully someone notices and it becomes good. Another example of redundancy is food progression. Food progression kind of follows the same path in most playthroughs. At the start of the game, you scavenge small amounts of meat and apples, and maybe a bit of bread if you're lucky. Later on, when you've settled down, you'll build a crop and animal farm. Finally, when you enslave a bunch of villagers, you can get them to sell you food. And then, when you get a farmer to max level, you'll buy a bunch of golden carrots from him because Sweaty Turnip Tips 41 on YouTube told you it's the best food source. There's nothing really wrong with this loop of slowly progressing in the amount of food you have and the quality of food you have. It's just, it gets kind of samey after 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 playthroughs of the game. You see, I wish that foods had a quality instead of having a small amount of foods completely dominate the food scene. That way, we would be able to express ourselves differently. Like if one player wants to harvest potatoes, while another player wants to harvest beetroots. In theory, both options should be valid. Both crops have similar traits, like being able to be sold to villagers. Both crops can be fed to pigs, and both crops suck in their base form but can be improved into better food items. But right now, potatoes are completely superior, making beetroots redundant. This is an example of the whole problem. Some foods beat others in every single field, making the ones they've beaten redundant. I mean, most players probably just eat a bunch of steak their whole playthrough and don't think much about all the other foods, which is a shame. All the variety in the game and all the awesome different food sources are cool. It's good to be able to have different food sources and different likes and dislikes when it comes to food, and being able to have a wide variety to choose from. But the problem is, why would we choose when there's something so much better than others and no incentive to choose the thing that is worse? So my goal with these changes is to give the players more creativity and freedom when it comes to food. As we go up on my list, we're going to find that the changes get more and more radical. So we're going to start with the very simple changes that don't change many of the game's aspects. Then we're going to move to the crazy changes that completely overhaul some of the game's system. The first change I would make is adding in built-in apple skin. Apple skin is a mod that allows you to view your saturation level. And as I stated before, I don't think something like that should be hidden. I also think that the way apple skin shows saturation isn't very obtrusive and really blends with the vanilla style. So adding it in for everyone to see would be a major improvement. My second idea is changing old foods for the better. There are a total of 41 food items in the game, 4 of which are hazardous to eat, 8 of which are just uncooked versions of other foods, and enchanted golden apples, and chorus fruits are pretty unrealistic food sources. So that leaves us with 26 foods remaining, and like 7 of these are good. So what do we do with the other 19? By either making them stronger so they stand shoulder to shoulder with these 7 that are great, or maybe making them more easily obtainable, so while they're not as good, they're rather plentiful, or we can improve upon them with my third idea. Idea number 3, adding new foods. Minecraft has so much room for expansion when adding new foods. Take mods like Farmer's Delight that add in new crops, new cooking recipes, like it completely overhauls the food system. I can also think of a ton of crops that would be a great addition to the game, like celery, onions, beans. While there are some completely new food items I'd like to see, I'd also like to see certain items that we already have be able to be combined into better food items. Like for example, maybe being able to make meatballs out of milk, eggs, wheat, and a type of meat. Or maybe being able to make fruit salad. Maybe being able to make cheese. There are so many options here and so many possibilities that I would just love to see. Finally, this is my most crazy idea. Reworking the entire hunger system. For my reworked hunger system, I would keep the hunger bar since it's extremely iconic and it's not really the entire problem, I think. What I would remove though is saturation. I would split saturation into 3 food group categories. Category 1, greens. Your green bar is filled up by eating vegetables and fruits, and it affects health regeneration. Let's say above 90% you have fast health regeneration, above 50% you have bedrock health regeneration, below 50% but above 5% you have no health regeneration, and below 5% you begin to lose your health or hunger like in normal Minecraft. Category number 2, yellows. Your yellow bar is filled up with starchy and sugary food like potatoes, bread, and cookies, and that affects sprinting and jumping speed. So, for example, above 80%, you get a small boost to your speed. Between 80 and 40%, you get your standard speed. Between 40 and 20%, you can no longer sprint, and below 20%, you have reduced walking speed. Finally, category 3, reds. The red bar is filled up with meat, eggs, and milk, and it affects your weapon attack strength and mining speed. So above 90%, you would get a plus 10% bonus. Between 90 and 30%, you would have your average speed. Below 30% is 20% less mining speed and damage. Aside from saving Steve from scurvy, this also offers bonuses and punishments. It also makes foods like rabbit stew and cake useful, as they not only provide value to the hunger bar, but value to all 3 types of categories. So what did we learn today? We learned that food was originally met with discontent by the community, but over time people began to accept it. New foods were added in, but the main problem stayed constant. Today I tried to provide some solutions, and if you have some solutions yourself, I'd be happy to hear them out in the comments. Now, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and peace.